Well, hello, my friend. Good day to you, and welcome to the Goddess Breath podcast. I'm Dr. Mari. Thank you for listening. In today's episode, I am excited to share about Inanna as the planet Venus, and also just some understanding of Inanna lifted up on that pedestal with our ancestors, our from ancient times, that the cultures that really revered Inanna as the planet Venus, and uh, that still exists. There are still some people that recognize that, myself being one, of course, knowing that. But it's really interesting. And then that there's also these poetic lyrics that are really beautiful that were written about her and translated from scholars not too long ago, actually, just only maybe about 50 years ago, that the translations were made. So I find it very remarkable, her whole story, obviously, and how we can find meaning and draw meaning from parts of her life and how it relates to us in our own development, but particularly that there's this correlation, this cosmic correlation to Inanna as well. First, I want to start with a breathing technique. And what I want to do today is sort of bring the three centers of the body together with the breathing. So, something very simple. You don't have to close your eyes, but if you feel good and you're in a comfortable space, I recommend doing that. This isn't any particular technique, or doesn't need any contraindications. Um, or I mean, specific contraindications, like I had talked about in a previous episode. So, yeah, just getting comfortable, thinking about the breathing always. And I really do these and encourage you to think about doing these as a reminder, because you can do any breathing at any time yourself. One thing that or that I've heard over and over and over, is that, I know about breathing techniques, I just don't remember. So I'm encouraging you to utilize this little bit of practice that we do. It's not very long, but as a remembering for you to pull it out of your pocket, like at a time in need, right? And it might not be where you need to sit down and go, with your eyes closed and get all involved in the three center breath, but at the same time, just having conscious, aware breaths can be saving grace. So, if you are ready to join me, or chime in when you are ready, and just thinking about the breath in the lower part of your body, in the abdominal area, taking some nice inhales and exhales. And hopefully, by now, if you've been listening to these episodes, that you are familiar with really expanding into the lower abdominal and the low back, feeling the energy there when you have this intentional deepening of your breath. Just staying with that, just thinking about what that feels like for you to take these breaths in the lower part of your body. And just to feel like connected to earth, to feel supported, your back and shoulders. And if you have any tension, to allow this deepening of the breath to let go any tension, letting your shoulders just kind of drop in, let go a little bit, surrender. We talked about letting go in some of these earlier episodes recently. And then I talked also about the sense of lifting up into the chest and the heart space, and like springtime lifts us up, that freshness. So now going to the chest area, the heart space, bringing the breath and the attention here, expanding your rib cage, allowing it to contract naturally. Thinking about expanding your rib cage, allowing it to contract naturally. Thinking about pulling your shoulder blades back and down. That sense then that what that does when you pull your shoulder blades back and down, it kind of naturally lifts your heart. So if you were being pulled from your heart, lifting up, like taken out of the darkness, right, into the light. I'm just paying attention to the breath here, paying attention to the energy when you're taking these breaths in the throat space. Using a little bit of a noise when you exhale. And then now bringing that attention to the area between your eyebrows, your forehead. This is really where I wanted to get to today. And staying here. And you can imagine, you're not breathing into the forehead, right? But you can imagine if you had a hole, an opening in the forehead, if you were to have energy air coming into the forehead, out. So you're opening your what's called the third eye chakra or the brow chakra. And that is where we want to be at right now in this part of the podcast, the story of Inanna. And we're talking about the third eye and the brow chakra, particularly the visionary. And this brings it all together. And as you're breathing in and out, you're breathing in and out through your mouth or your nose, but this is very closely connected to this part of your body. It's the triangle here, right? There's a triangle, it's the point. You draw a line from your lips out horizontally, and then you go up, and then it's there is the third eye chakra. And then think about the ears too. We have the energy of our hearing as well. So we have a lot of energy that is happening. And there's also the pineal gland that's behind the third eye brow chakra. So just visualizing or imagining that these breaths are coming in and out through this imaginary hole and underneath your forehead, underneath your forehead. And yeah, just being with that, noticing what it feels like. Allowing that space. And if you were to manifest like your potential, fullest potential of who you are, if you were to right now manifest what maybe something you've always dreamed of doing. Like I always wanted to sing. And so I could see myself singing up there in front of everybody. It's really fully expressing myself. But what is it for you? What do you see yourself as? You manifest. Right? And again, you don't have to have your eyes closed. You can do this with your eyes open, just thinking it through. The power of the mind is immense. The power of the mind is immense. And there's a lot to it that our Western culture hasn't been informed of. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. So, all right. And then now just let's close with 3 breaths through the whole body, through the lower body, inhaling the lower belly, expanding into the chest, and then exhaling upward through the upper head. Again, fully lifting up, exhaling, and then bringing that again one more time. Lifting up, maybe just tapping on the forehead here a little bit, just really opening this energetic center for manifesting, for visualizing, for being all of who you are, who you would want to be, what you see yourself as in your fullest potential. Thank you for participating in that with me. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you feel more calm, more relaxed, more present, more, just the saying of Ram Dass, be here now, right? So I want to read from my book the poem that was written for Inanna, or maybe it's a lyrical. We don't really know. But I imagine they sang to her. And I'm not going to sing. Even though I said I want to always sing, I'm not doing that. Sorry. It's called The Lady of the Heaven. And it starts, my lady, the amazement of the land, the lone star, the brave one who appears first in the heavens. All the lands fear her. In the pure place of the steppe, on the high roofs of the dwellings, on the platforms of the city, they make offerings to her, piles of incense like sweet smelling cedar. Fine sheep, fat sheep, long haired sheep, they offer up buttered cheese, dates, fruits of all kinds. They purify the earth for my lady. They celebrate her in song. They pour dark beer for her, they pour light beer for her. They emmer beer for my lady. The sagavat and the lamp sarvat make a bubbling noise for her. Those are the devices to make the beer. They prepare gug bread and date syrup for her, the beer bread. Wine and honey for her at sunrise. The gods and the people of Sumer go to her with food and drink. They feed Inanna in the pure, clean place and say, hail to the Holy One who appears in the heavens. Hail to the Holy Priestess of Heaven, to Inanna, the great lady. And you fill the sky with light. You brighten the day at dawn. Hail to the great lady of the heavens. Awesome lady of the Inanna gods, that's the Sumerian gods on the platform, the pantheon. Crowned with great horns. In her pictures, images, you see this, her crown. You fill the heavens and earth with light, mighty, majestic, and radiant. You shine brilliantly in the evening. You brighten the day at dawn. You stand at the heavens like the sun and the moon. Your wonders are known both above and below. To you, Inanna, we sing. So she, as I said, is revered as Inanna, or, but the Venus, the planet Venus. So Venus, the star Venus. And it's amazing that what we can think of when we recognize that Venus is both the morning star and the evening star. And this represents balance of the opposites, the light and the dark. When we're thinking and studying and learning more about the brow chakra, the third eye chakra, we are aware of the fact that the chakra energies come to this point and meet of the balance of the masculine and feminine energies within. I won't go into the detail of the names. If you are familiar with them, I know what they are, but I'm not just sharing what makes sense for people, is that these energies come together in the eye chakra, the third eye chakra, and bring balance. They commune, they bring balance to the opposites. So there's a lot of that was written about and represented in the Sumerian culture and a lot of the ancient cultures, but particularly this is my most prominent study. So I bring this up often about the Sumerians. I found very fascinating. And that, this went on for hundreds of years of recognizing her and revering Inanna uh, with the Venus showing up in the sky in the evening and then in the morning, and that there's also this sense of the balance of the energies within. So one of the things that I wrote about is that in in ourselves, somebody that has done a lot of inner work and has been able to kind of discern more about the masculine and feminine energies within and has worked through the lower chakras and all of that, then can recognize that uh, that there's more to life than just the material aspect, right? There's the sense of just being in the world, and that it doesn't matter material objects anymore, or um, or that also that you can contain both within, a balance of both within. Um, I wrote in my book that these people let go expectations and aren't really attached to any end result. Like the sense of letting go of attachment has emerged as more of a felt sense than just saying it, right? It's really felt, and it's a shedding, and it's a great feeling as well. I've been able to do it myself, which is wonderful. But recognizing life as a blessing and as a gift, no matter what is presented to them. So, no matter what your challenges are, the challenges are a blessing. I shared with my conversation with Ren Butler that, even though I went through a really challenging time, um, that I was able to feel grateful that I could bring more to the table of myself going through that difficult challenge and time. So it's kind of a lifting up. I was saying like the heart chakra is the air element, the throat chakra is the ether element, and then it just continues this lifting up, like closer to the energies of the cosmos in these upper chakras. And um, that and as from a life development standpoint, that these people are kind of feel just satisfied, content, complacent, um, and that are able to just surrender, to easily surrender, to let go, to accept what life brings, and that it's uh, a vision that's carried forward. So, whatever that vision is, everybody's different and has a different sense of what they feel is their purpose in the world. And then I'm going to talk about now the archetypes. So, this area in our bodies, and Inanna as the planet Venus, of her process of her life, and the going through her journey to the underworld, and then coming up, and then being revered for hundreds of years as the queen of heaven and earth. She's an archetype. She's way more than an archetype, but as an archetype, we can see these different perspectives within ourselves. That sense of lifting up, giving ourselves the grace, right? Lifting ourselves up and acknowledging ourselves and honoring ourselves for who we are and what we've done in our life. Um, and that the shaman, the visionary, wants to be a part of the community, a part of the collective, and bring forth what you as an individual have learned, and bring that forward to share for the betterment of the collective. That's the idea when we think of working with archetypes, and particularly with this story with Inanna. So, also, I perceive Inanna as the shaman archetype. We all have the shaman healer and energy within us that we want to bring forth then our gifts for others. But what, what is it that some of the reasoning is behind some of why people want to be a shaman? I think that being a shaman, like, and actually calling yourself a shaman, that is a sense of being called, and then also being able to face challenges and recognize that life isn't easy, and it's not always going to go the way that you want it to. But just because you have healing gifts doesn't necessarily classify you as someone who's a shaman. A shaman goes through a great ordeal and has to come out on the other side of that dark journey. And that's really what I see makes a shaman, that they're willing to surrender, to go through an initiatory rite, to face demons, to face villains, to face your own death, to bring forth the gifts for humanity, for the collective, for the betterment of the whole, of humanity, for that sense of thriving, flourishment that we all have as a birthright within us. So, going through discerning moments in life, being supported by the right people, having that support is important. We have to learn how to be a support, and we only learn that going through our own trials and tribulations. So that's why I'm saying, it's life experience, and I think that's really important to mention, and that being okay with bringing stuff to the surface, that we have shadow stuff, being able to want to work on all of that, right? If we're going to be representative of something as meaningful and powerful as a shaman, then it's important to step up to the plate, to do our inner work, and to be in it for the long haul, for the collective, for through all of the trials and tribulations, and committed to this particular persona of who you are, right? Not to say we're not perfect, right? No, nobody's perfect, and you don't have to be perfect. Nobody has to be perfect, but allowing yourself to be vulnerable, allowing yourself to surrender, that's really important. So Inanna is just a great, like, pillar of strength, a beacon of light for the ancient cultures, and it can be for us today, right here and now. And in the middle of me recording these last couple of episodes, she was in the evening sky, so beautiful and brilliant and radiant, just remarkable. The energy, if you know this, even if you don't, you recognize the beauty of Venus, and you can get the gist of the last episode, what my colleague Ren Butler shared about Venus, him being an archetypal astrologer. And then in the morning, so early in the morning, just, right before the sun's coming up, you can see her shining brightly as well. And what a beautiful, like, start to the day, right? To know that it's important to start the day with this sense of gratitude, of um, that living in both worlds, that the shaman has like the feet in both worlds. So being able to let go into non-ordinary states of consciousness or deeper inner exploration. And it's important to be practical, live in the world, know that we are a materially prone human beings, that we just naturally want our um, our things that keep us feeling comfort, safe, protected, stable. So it's all of it together. Um, as I walk through, and I just bring back some of these lower chakra energy centers. That's why I did the 3 center breath right here, and then that opening of compassion, and this peeling away of layers and opening more and more in the heart space, being allowed to experience unconditional love, and to have the idea that you are the container, especially as a parent, a teacher, a leader in your community. And then how do you perceive that? What is your vision, right? How are you visioning forward? Um, and there's, this, I'll just say this one last thing before I end this episode, but there's the two parts, the masculine and feminine, that come together right at the brow chakra. And there's the visual and the mind's eye. And there's the intellectual aspect, and there's the intuitive aspect. So there's both. And you can combine these two in your life, and be aware that that's a great thing to do, to know intellectually, scientifically, even through research, but also intuitively, knowing that this is the hearing the call, like that sense of like being guided within. And bringing those two together is just a wonderful way to have a perception and an outlook and visual of where your life is going, and how you can be guiding light for others. So thank you for being with me today in this episode, and listening or watching. And I will be talking about the crown chakra in the next episode. Keep in mind, I have my books, my 2 books. Well, this particular book, Unveiling the Modern Goddess Through Symbolism, Chakras, and Myth, is available on Amazon. You can get that through my website. I'll put that in the show notes. And then very soon, I'm going to be moving into my next theme in my book, Connecting the Masculine and Feminine Within, the Sacred Union. So that's a little bit of what I'm saying here in this episode, bringing all these energies together in your life to have more sense of wholeness, to have a deeper sense of wholeness as you move through every day in your perspective. All right. Well, be well. Blessings. Thank you.